The fear of what will people say is a real fear that has kept so many people longer than expected or should be in places just because of the fear of what will people say. When I look back at my life, I have had that fear, but the time I broke away from it was a freedom that I cannot even begin to explain to you that I had or experienced. What will people say is the fear that will keep you long in a relationship, in a business, doing things that you should not do because of what people will say. But you know, people will always say, people will always speak. If you're up, they'll say you're up. If you're down, they'll say you're down. If you're fat, they'll say you're too fat. If you're slim, they'll say you look sick. People will always speak, always talk, because talk is cheap. But what I want to talk to you today about is don't let the fear of other people's opinions keep you in places that you have no business being in. Keep you in circumstances that you have no business being in just because you're afraid of what people will say. A lot of women have lost their lives in domestic violence because they were afraid of what the community would say if they had to walk away, if they had to divorce, if they had to separate. A lot of people did not walk away on the wedding day, even though they knew they were getting into a relationship they should never have gotten into. They saw some signs and things that terrified them, but they went on to say I do in front of the pastor and their family and friends, even though they knew, because they were afraid of what would people say. People have stayed in cycles, stayed in cliques, stayed in relationships with friends because they were afraid of what will people say if they left. And don't get me wrong, it's a valid fear, but it is a fear that you can overcome. And I want to tell you how I overcame that fear. For many years, I had a friend, a very close friend of mine. And we had a fallout that happened a couple years prior. But I stayed friends with that friend because I was afraid of what a rift in our relationship could do, especially with the amount of information that she had about me. I was afraid of what the community will say if she and I were not together. In my head, I kind of made up this belief that if she ever went into the community to talk about anything about me, the community would believe. And I was so afraid of what the community would judge me as. And so I stayed on in that relationship without addressing the issues that needed to have been addressed because of the fear of the community. Then when you ask yourself, but what community? Or if you're asking me, what community? I can't even spell out to you what community it was exactly. Maybe the African community or the Cameroonian community or the community of friends that we were a part of. I don't even know. But I had that fear. But when life brought us to a point where there was just no return, me and that friend hit a rock. And everything I did to help us survive from that rock fell through the cracks. Our friendship was deteriorating because of something that happened, and I couldn't save it because there was just so much that came out in the light. That was what forced me to deal with my fear of the community. Listen, there are people that would judge you irrespective of what you do. There are people that are looking for any excuse to call you a bad name. There are people that are looking for just about anything to smear your reputation, not because whatever it is has any valid or concrete basis, but because they already are predisposed to judge you for no other reason but the fact that you are you. There are people that will love and admire you, respect and honor you, irrespective of where you are. If you're in the valley, they'll still love, respect, and honor you. If you're on a mountain, they will still love and respect and honor you. And to every person that leaves, there are those two sides of people. Now, here's what I say. Please don't sweat it. Don't worry. Don't kill yourself trying to impress people that will never be impressed by you. Focus on those that will gravitate towards you naturally, those that would understand you even without you explaining, those that will see the good before they see the bad in you. Because no matter what you do, if a person is predisposed to judge you, they will judge you either way. Because they always say, when you want to kill a dog, you give it a bad name. And those people, they are there. They are the critics. They are the judges. They are the ones that are looking to bring you down. Well, that's fine. Pay no attention to that. They are the ones that help you move forward, that keep yourself in check. But never stay in any relationship, in any situation, any circumstance because of those sets of people. And I learned this lesson. And I broke free of the opinion of what people will say. So free that I started to say, whatever you've heard, believe it. Whatever version of the story you've heard, run with it. Because then it also unlocked within me the freedom to not explain. Because the people that really get you don't need the explanation that you're willing or you're running to give. It is usually the other people predisposed to judge and insult and hate that are looking for the explanation. And they sit there, hey, tell me what happened. And there you are, struggling to explain, struggling to tell your own version of the story, struggling to, because you're trying to save your reputation. The blessing of age, the blessing of time has taught me it's not worth it. The fear of what people will say is a fear that lives in the hearts of people who don't know who they are. When you know who you are, when you understand who you are, when you understand that not everybody was called to you, not everybody will love you, not everybody will respect you, and there are people that will love you, you will move. I want to leave you with this statement. When the servant of Elisha stood in the midst of his master, completely overwhelmed by the battle that was out, he saw the people that had come against him. He was filled with so much fret and fright. But Elisha said and prayed a prayer that God will open his eyes to see that those that are for him, those that were there for them, Elisha and that servant inclusive, were way more than those that were against him. And when his eyes were opened and he saw that they were encamped by angels and the host of heaven, which was a number that outweighed those that were against him, his fear was minimized to nothing, and he had courage and boldness. Your mind may convince you that there are more people against you than there are for you. I leave you with a prayer that may God open your eyes to see that those that are for you are much more than those that are against you.